Who's twisting the truth in court?
We having a breakdown in communication. She owes me 3 days of storage.
When we were leaving, he agreed he was going to let me come back to the house to get the rest of my stuff.
I don't know why this went negative.
I do not like when people come into my courtroom and look me right in my face and lie to me. And that is what you did.
Plaintiff Jennifer Hutch says her former landlord evicted her without notice and is refusing to return her belongings. She's suing for the costs of her personal property. She's accompanied in court by James Barnett. Defendant Trey Jackson says the plaintiff was legally evicted when she didn't follow the rules of the house. He's countersuing for back rent and fees.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Hutch versus Jackson.
Thank you, Barbara. Jennifer Hutch, you are suing the defendant for $3,000 for costs incurred for an illegal eviction.
Right.
And you are countersuing Mr. Jackson for $4,065 for back rent, late fees, storage costs, utilities, and administrative costs?
That's correct.
Okay. We'll start with you, Ms. Hutch. Can you tell me what kind of place it was?
It was a property where they rented all the rooms to different people. Okay, most of the rooms, there was 4 rooms. Mine was the very bottom. It was a 3-level house. All the rooms were rented to like college kids. Okay, they would throw big parties.
So you rented a room in the house.
Right.
And who else lived with you at that time?
With me, my 2 daughters. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old at the time.
Okay, so they lived in the room with you.
Right, and then he was coming and he was staying quite regularly, but he wasn't living there.
And who are you, sir?
I'm her boyfriend.
Okay, Mr. Barnett?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was staying there. I would go there just at night and sleep with, and then go home in the morning. I had my own place.
This is all in one room?
Yeah, it was like a garage-sized room, like a double-car garage-sized room.
So you were living in this room with your 2 daughters. How much were you paying in rent?
I was paying $800 a month.
And did you have a lease agreement with the defendant?
No, never did.
Okay, but at some point, you come to an agreement with him. Not a written lease, but an oral lease.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, everything went fine, and then Trey told me at one time that he was only gonna move in people who were like family-oriented, make it like a family home, people who had kids,
Okay, because you have 2 daughters.
Right.
You're telling me that there was a problem with the other people living in the unit. So you were in a month-to-month, correct?
Right, yeah.
So why didn't you move if you didn't like living there?
I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have any money to move.
We've been living there.
I've been there for a year and a half.
With not one complaint, not one problem.
Not one.
And then
That's key.
Okay, so tell me
what he said.
Tell me what's going on, sir.
When I acquired the property as the new owner in transition, I have a property management company that works under my enterprise. We buy property, and then my property management company manages the property. The former owner placed all these tenants.
Right.
She didn't make good decisions, and I'm gonna give her that, okay, as far as the placement. There were college kids there. It's near a college. So when I came in, she was almost like a hostage situation as far as being able to move around the house with her kids.
Right.
I get that. So when she said, Trey, can you come over and do a pop-up visit and see what I'm going through? I did that. The tenants that was there, that was college kids, they was doing Facebook parties, 100, 200 people show up, disturbing the whole neighborhood. So I was like,
what is a Facebook party?
Facebook party.
Oh, where they post on Facebook, there's a party at this address and everybody comes over. Okay.
And this is a resident. This is not a hall.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was out of control. I did a pop-up visit. I came in the dining area, which she was not allowed to come in because they took it over.
Yeah.
And I seen things on the table that was very disturbing.
Like what?
Paraphernalia.
Like drug paraphernalia. Okay.
So if I was those kids, her daughter's dad, uncle, brother, I would have lost it.
Okay.
So I stayed professional. I did the process through the courts, got them out.
Okay.
I was championing her 7-year-old, 10-year-old daughter. That's what it was really about.
Yeah.
I don't know why this went negative.
Coming up, Trey calls the couple out in court, but Jennifer fights back.
He was there every night.
And is she not supposed to have overnight guests?
I have rules right here that she signed off.
No, I did not sign anything.
Because you never returned it.
I have it.
You,
and you didn't give it to me until the last month before I moved.
Because you have
the last month before I moved.
And Judge Faith gets real.
Let me tell you something. Don't come in this courtroom and pretend to know anything about me or what I say or don't say.
Plaintiff Jennifer Hutch says her former landlord refused to return her belongings after evicting her illegally. She's suing for the cost of her personal property. Defendant Trey Jackson says if the plaintiff had just followed the house rules, she wouldn't have had a problem. He is countersuing for back rent and fees.
Why did you evict the plaintiff?
Mainly because of him and his presence at the facility.
What happened?
He was there every night from the hours. This is not hearsay. This is what she told me to my face. He comes between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Right.
He's not on the lease.
And is she not supposed to have overnight guests?
No.
I was only allowing them
any
to have
rule about
overnight.
it at all.
I have rules right here that she signed off.
No, I did not sign anything.
Because you never returned
I
it.
have it.
Because you
And you didn't give it to me until the last
never
month
returned
before
it,
I moved.
Because you have
The last month
scandalous
before I moved.
intentions. That's why you never returned
Okay,
it.
scandalous
So you didn't
intentions.
want
Let's talk about that.
her
I'll allow
boyfriend
everyone
staying
in the
overnight.
house one night guest per week.
Wrong.
Okay.
For sanitary reasons, safety
Wrong.
reasons. Okay?
And you're saying that
Sanitary
he's staying
reason,
there
never
every
worried about
night.
it.
When I found that out through complaints of the new tenant, who she got into
Were
it
you
with.
staying there every night, sir?
Yeah, well, practically.
Almost.
You know, and like I said, I didn't have nothing. Never took showers there. I had my own place.
Never used the kitchen.
Never used the kitchen.
anything.
Never used. Yeah, didn't have no
How
clothes
you
or
there
nothing.
every day and you don't use
Didn't
no
do his
amenities?
laundry there.
You didn't take the
Come at. He might have went to the bathroom.
Okay,
yeah.
that's utilities.
Okay. That's
Anyway.
what he's
All
told
right,
me
go
before.
ahead, sir.
That's what he's told me before.
Okay,
That's what
go
he
ahead.
said.
Okay, so she, in her mind, her loop-de-doo mind, that's not living there because if he's just using the facilities as restroom, then he's not officially living there.
Okay,
Trey.
so at what point do you get to file for a notice of eviction?
When she was breaking all the rules, I gave her a 3-day covenant.
So you say that the eviction was unlawful, but I have paperwork here from the courts and from the sheriff. I mean, he didn't lock you out. The sheriff came and locked you out.
Okay, yeah.
So the eviction, by law, he can't do that unless you've been given notice and a writ of possession has been issued.
Okay.
So what's your issue? Why do you say it's unlawful?
I don't believe that I was served right. I don't believe that
you
I
were,
was.
ma'am. You
I
were.
went and okay.
I read the paperwork thoroughly.
Okay.
You went. There was a notice of eviction filed,
Right.
and you were notified.
Right.
You went
he
down
came
to court.
me and told me I could stay. Did you not? Until August 12th.
Ma'am, you got
Okay.
notice that an eviction had been filed.
Right.
You went down to court, and you paid the court
Right,
rent
right.
in the amount of $800,
Right.
and it was stayed for 30
days, which would have put me
only.
out on the 13th.
30
Only 30
days
days.
only.
It
okay?
would have put me out on the 13th.
You got another notice that the sheriff would come, because this is how the law works.
I never got
and
another notice.
In 5 days, your things
You can
will
laugh
be
all you
put
want.
out, and that's what happens when the sheriff comes.
Okay.
The
Okay?
sheriff
The
comes
sheriff
and
gets a
posts it.
court order.
Can I tell you something?
The sheriff does not get an order from the defendant. The sheriff gets an order
I get
from
that.
court.
I understand that.
Okay?
I understand that. And he comes to me again and he says he's going to pull it. I believe him.
Did you tell her that you weren't going to evict her?
No, I never told her I was gonna pull
This
this.
last time
No.
when she was actually evicted by the sheriff, did you tell her that you were not going to evict her?
No, I didn't because she put in a stay of execution in May.
Right.
So when she
After
did
that.
that, she let me know that she's a smart girl. She knows how to deal with the law and stop things. So I said, okay, I'll deal with that. You holding up my rent money because you got to pay it to the court. And I had to wait 4 weeks for me to get that check. And she put it in the former owner's name, so I really had to wait. So she knows how to deal with the
So
court.
what happened after the 30 days?
After the 30 days, her rent was due back up, and the 30 days of eviction kicked back in.
Right.
It's her job, not for me to call and say, hey, please hold my rent again by going down to the court. It's her job to go back to the court and say, hey, I need more time to find a job. Because she went to the court, and the excuse that she gave the judge was, my ankle's broken, Your Honor, I need more time to move out. It
And
wasn't.
that's when the 30-day stay came in.
It
They
came
would
back
put me
in.
out on the 13th of June. Okay? Why would the sheriff come and lock me
Ma'am,
out?
it is not an unlawful eviction.
Okay.
When the sheriff comes,
I get that
we
part.
already know that the eviction process was started. You went down to court. You had a 30-day stay.
Right, I get
Shortly
that.
after that, the sheriff came and you are evicted.
I get that part.
Okay. What's the next issue?
The next issue is...
You said that he locked you out and didn't let you get your things because
He
you are
still has
allowed
my
by law
property.
by 15 days. You are required by law 15 days to keep your property for 15 days. During that time period, you can come and get your property.
You know
What
this is a-
happened?
You know this is a real judge, right? She knows what she's talking about. You know that, right?
Let's play, Trey.
Okay.
Let's pray.
This is not play.
Okay.
So
I
what
tried
happened?
to go get my property. Okay, I went back the very same day that I was locked out, if you remember. Okay, I went back there with him and my daughters and a friend of mine. We all went up there to go get my stuff. He told me I can go in and get whatever I could. I went in. Later, he comes in and he tells me, okay, you got 15 minutes. So it was like, hurry up, hustle, get out, you know, whatever.
Did I give you only 15 minutes? Don't lie.
No,
20 minutes.
I gave you an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
He
Anyways.
gave us about 45 minutes, and then about
No,
then he said,
half of it was
we got
talking.
20 more minutes left. So
Okay, so you had 45 minutes
so
plus 20
an
minutes,
hour.
an hour to
An
get
hour.
your things.
Coming up on Judge Faith, a shocking statement stuns the courtroom.
She ran up to me. She said, Trey, my kids are crying.
I was locked out by the sheriff.
That's not my problem. She said, well, we both parents. You should know how it is. I said, the difference between me and you is that, yeah, we both parents, but I would never let my kids be homeless.
Is that not rude?
She turned
That's so
red.
rude.
She ran up to my face, Your Honor, and said, you know what, Trey? You ain't gonna be nothing but an N-word the rest of your life.
No, I did not, Your Honor. Look at me.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
Did you call him that?
Plaintiff Jennifer Hutch says her former landlord refused to return her belongings after evicting her illegally. She's suing for the cost of her personal property. Defendant Trey Jackson says if the plaintiff had just followed the house rules, she wouldn't have had a problem. He is countersuing for back rent and fees.
So up until this point, this is accurate.
Right. When we were leaving, he agreed he was going to let me come back to the house to get the rest of my stuff. No. Okay? I went back to go to the house up there to go get the rest
What
of the
day
things.
did you go back?
I don't know what day it was.
3 days later. It was on a Friday.
Yeah, it was on a Friday. I think it was on the 10th.
I agree with that.
By the way, what was the real reason for the eviction? All of these problems in addition to, was it non-payment of rent as well?
It was non-payment of rent.
Okay,
and
that
I'm just
was-
gonna leave it there.
Okay, non-payment of rent. When you evict someone lawfully, by law, you have to give them a time to come and get their things within the 15 days.
Yeah, I
So
understand
if
that.
she showed
Still
back
has
up,
it.
if you say there are damages to the property, there are other ways you go about getting
Right.
restitution for
Right.
those damages.
Right.
But if she comes back and you tell her to come back and she's trying to get her things, you can't stop her from going in and then charge her storage for keeping her things there. May I have the list of the property you say was
Yes.
left, and do you have
Okay.
any proof? Do you have
Yes.
any proof that this
I have-
property
I have-
was left in
I don't have
your...
proof he has all of my property.
Do you still where's the stuff?
Some of it, Your Honor, I went up there. He told me I can go up there and pick up my stuff on a Friday. I went up there to go get it. I could go up there and get my mattress, is what he told me.
So what happened when she started calling, trying to get her
Yeah.
property?
We having a
No,
breakdown in
that's not all of it.
communication. She owes me
It's not a
3
breakdown.
days of storage when she came back. She did not have any payment for that. So I do not have to give her anything if she don't have the 3 days. I just wanted the 3 days minimum.
Do you have any proof that this property was left inside of your
Everything I
unit?
own, he has. I was locked out by the sheriff. I don't know what else kind
You
of
have a
proof I
camera?
need
Do
to
you have a
have.
phone?
She
You got a
wasn't
camera
home
phone?
when they locked her out. It was her daughter that was home, so she has everything was left behind.
Where's the property now?
The property is in storage.
No,
'Cause
half of it might be in storage. Half
want
of it was
her
on the
to
side of
have
the
her
house
stuff
broken.
back. I even brought family pictures that she cried to me about. I brought them with me today because I
Thank
want her
you.
to have those.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
you're welcome. From the demon.
So
You're so
here's
good.
here's the deal. So she owes you 3 days of storage, and that's it. Nothing else.
That's it.
So
She
if
didn't
that
have the money
is-
that day.
Sir, listen to what I'm
Okay.
saying.
$30, $10, whatever.
I understand she didn't have the money that day, but she's only required to pay for those days
Yes.
that from the date that she was evicted up until the date that she came and
I agree.
tried to get her things.
agree.
What else do you have?
This is what I have.
What else do you have?
What else I have is the day I denied her to get her stuff when she wouldn't sign the release. She ran up to me. She said, Trey, my kids are crying. They want their toys and you won't let them have them. I said, that's not my problem. She said, well, we both parents. You should know how it is. I said, the difference between me and you is that, yeah, we both parents, but I would never let my kids be homeless. That's the difference. She took 5 seconds.
Right? Is that not rude?
She turned
That's so
red.
rude.
She ran up to my face, Your Honor, and said, you know what, Trey? You ain't gonna be nothing but an N-word the rest of your life. And when I say N-word, it wasn't G-A, it was E-R, like we was in 1951.
Did you call him that?
Look at me. No, I did not, Your Honor. Look at me.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
I can't. I can't.
No,
I
you
never
can't.
called you that,
You
Trey.
never
I don't
called me
call
that?
anybody that.
After she called me the N-word, she was about 5 inches away from my face, spitting on me and everything. I was
Oh.
sitting in my truck. Then she
In your
goes,
truck. You weren't even in a truck.
then she goes, Your Honor. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I was in my car.
Oh.
Then she goes, Your Honor, for the rest of your life, no matter what kind of cars you got, no matter what property you have, you can forever be a big lip N-word.
You are such.
I was like,
oh my God! If my
I can
girls
take
were
the
here.
N-word
If
because
my
I've been
girls
called
were
worse,
here.
but big lips, that drew the line. I drew the line on that. Sexy lips, maybe, but no. I drew the line on that. And I have a voicemail to prove that she used that word.
Okay, let me hear the voicemail. Because she's saying
hear it.
she doesn't use that word.
She
Let's hear
uses
it.
that word.
Let's hear it.
She does not use it.
I've been trying to get a hold of you. I've been blowing up your phone, and I know you know it, so I don't know why the you continue to ignore me. Could you call me back? Could you please? I would appreciate it, because you lied to me when you told me that you were going to cancel my eviction. You were just trying to get my money out of me, and then you were going to have the police come and knocked me out anyway. What a weasel. Call me back.
A weasel.
No, you're not going to call me back because I've been calling him names. Chief, what does do? Act like you're
Boom.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I apologize then. I did say that then.
No, you thought...
I don't remember saying that.
Let me tell you something.
Wow.
On your phone, there's a red button.
Okay,
It says
I don't
end.
remember saying that.
You should practice pushing the red button.
Okay,
Whatever,
folks, just
whatever.
listen. Talk to the judge,
I do
please.
not remember saying that, Your Honor.
Well,
You said it 3
sounds
times
just
on that
like
voicemail.
it.
But
Talk to the judge,
obviously
please.
I did, okay? But I do not remember. Do you remember how mad I was?
That's besides the
Okay,
point.
it doesn't matter. Okay.
This is
Ma'am,
a
you
business.
just told
You caused
me.
me to
Okay,
lose
I
money.
apologize.
You just testified before
I did
me
just
that
testify.
you didn't call him the N-word to his face.
That day.
I do not.
That day.
No,
You said
I did
that
not
you
recall.
don't use that word,
That day.
and as a matter of fact, you said you never called
I don't
someone the
call
N-word.
people that word.
And then 5 seconds later, he plays a voicemail. And how many times did you say it? 2, 3 times?
3 times, Your Honor.
Is that
I
what
never-
is that what you refer to black people as
No,
in
it is
general,
not.
or
No, it
just
is
when
not.
you're upset with them?
No, it is not. Of course you were
The
trying to
same black
bring
landlord
that
that
up.
gave you $100 cash 2013.
How many
for
times are
Christmas.
you going to throw that in my face?
Because landlords don't give their
Sir.
tenants $100 cash.
Sir,
The same one that
I want you to
drew
stop.
him
All right,
I
I
want you to
apologize. I
stop
apologize.
talking
I apologize.
because I do not like
is wrong.
when people come into my courtroom.
Okay, I
look at me.
apologize. I
I'm
do
not
not
finished.
recall.
I do not like when people come into my courtroom and look me right in my face and lie to me. And that is what you did.
I
If
did
you are
not intentionally
continuing,
lie
ma'am,
to you.
ma'am,
Okay.
not only are you demonstrating to me right now that you use the most racist, derogatory, insulting, insensitive words towards black people, but you're demonstrating to me right now you cannot even admit it and tell me the
My
truth.
daughters are mixed.
I don't care if your best friend is black. It doesn't matter. I heard you call him the N-word.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. I cannot stand, because that is the #1 thing people say. Oh, I'm not racist. But you know what? I just
My
happen
kids
to...
are biracial. I mean,
I
what?
don't, so what? So you're not a racist because your kids are biracial?
No, I'm a racist against him. I do not recall saying that.
So he's
Against
the
him,
N-word,
against his
but no other
character.
black person.
No,
That's your
against his
excuse for that.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
I am just amazed that in 2014, people still talk like that and refer to black people as the N-word.
That's how they refer to each other, though.
Yeah. I
Excuse
do
me?
not
That's how they
recall.
refer to each other.
Oh, okay, so I see you're just as ignorant as your little girlfriend. Let me tell you something. Don't come in this courtroom and pretend to know anything about me or what I say or don't say. But let me inform you of something. There are a lot of black people that choose not to use that word because we understand the degrading and historical context from which it stems. It doesn't matter if Jay-Z says it. Doesn't matter if Kanye West says it. Stop making excuses for your own personal choices. And don't play dumb. You know that there's a difference in the context and that word being thrown around in some rap lyrics and when you use it in a hurling and insulting manner. Now, let me tell you why I'm dismissing your case. Because you're going to think that I'm dismissing your case because you're an ignorant racist. But that's not why I'm dismissing your case. I'm dismissing it because you're a liar. You came into court and you lied to me to my face. Judgment in this case is for the defendant in the amount of $4,065, and I'm ordering you to return her property. Judgment for the defendant.
This landlord seeks damages after these tenants left his apartment a mess.
I spent $1,300 to get that place ready just for you to throw me out on my ear. I'm shocked and appalled.
I emailed him immediately. We have the email here that asked for the papers from the walkthrough, and we were denied. We were told that we would only be sent an invoice.
I want you to address me and not Mr. Fanticola. You understand? Can you do that?
Speaking out in court can have its repercussions.
Stop it.
Here's the check, though. I paid the
Sir,
rent one
you
night.
you have this lawyer thing going on in your
I do
head.
place
I need you to
consulting for
listen,
public works. I'm being
You know what?
railroaded.
You know what? Let me tell you, you better turn it down.
Okay.
You better turn it down right now. This is not law and order. Listen, you may play a lawyer in your life, but I'm a judge.
Says he rented his apartment to the defendants for 3 years, only to find it flooded and needing repairs when they decided to move out. He says it was in horrible, disgusting condition and is suing for damages to his property. Defendants Stanley and Aaron Clark say they were great tenants and that the plaintiff asked them to move after they had an altercation with a neighbor. They claim the plaintiff is responsible for the damages because he neglected necessary repairs. They are countersuing for defamation of character.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Fanticola versus Clark.
Thank you, Barbara. Drew Fanticola?
Yes.
You are suing the defendants Stanley Clark and Aaron Clark for $7,473 for property damages you say they caused when they leased property from you?
That's correct, yes.
And you are countersuing for $5,000?
Yes, I am.
For harassment, defamation of character, your security deposit, and legal fees?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. What kind of property do you own, and when did the defendants move in?
So I own a fourplex apartment complex in Arcadia. I've
Okay.
owned it for 17 years. I take great pride in being a landlord and try to accommodate the tenants as much as I possibly can. I bring the tenants Christmas gifts. I personally deliver and drop off a Christmas gift every year to the tenants. I've never raised the rent on any tenant in 17 years I've owned the apartment complex. In February 2011, I rented the apartment to Stan and Aaron Clark. This is pictures of the condition of the apartment.
Barbara?
That it was in immaculate condition.
These
The
are
carpet
photos of
was-
the apartment before they moved in?
That is correct.
Okay.
I haven't seen the photos. May I see those?
May I see them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So the carpet was perfect condition. The walls were perfect condition. There were no holes in the fence. There were no broken doors. All the drapes were absolutely perfect. And at the time I rented it to him, it was very clear that there were no pets allowed
Okay, how long did they live there?
for 3 years.
3
Just
years,
over
okay.
3 years.
3.5.
What was the agreed upon security deposit and rent?
It was 1,000 security and the rent's $1,900 a month.
Okay, and so over the course of 3 years, did you increase the rent?
No.
Okay.
So at the time I rented it to him, I did not allow pets of any kind. Shortly after they moved in, Stan called and begged that he would want a small dog and it wouldn't be a problem. And as soon as they got the dog, I started getting complaints about the horrendous smell because they didn't pick up after the dog. The dog was left unattended for hours, barking all day.
Okay, so the two of you got a dog?
Yeah. We
Okay.
got a dog. He
And
said
what
it
was the
okay.
issue with the dog?
There was no issue with. Now there was one issue. Okay, he chewed through a board on the fence, which I built the guy a new fence, and it's still standing there today. So
You built a fence in the...
I built a fence
Stay
for him.
back.
Yes.
Stay behind the podium there. Thank you.
And
And then this is the Humane Society that was called.
Humane Society was called out. They checked out the place and they said it was an unfounded call. I have the officer's name in the case.
Okay, you're skipping way ahead. What was the issue with the dog and who was called out
There
to
was no
investigate?
issue with the dog.
I was at work. I got a call from my son who was home that there was an animal control officer at the door and that they needed to check the backyard. So I told my son to go ahead and let the animal control officer in.
Do you know who called?
I don't know. No, we don't
Do you
know
know
for
who
certain.
called?
I have no idea. In fact, I
Okay.
didn't even know
I
the
can-
Humane Society had been to the apartments till right now.
What happened to the door? That's the door
That's
to
from
where?
the water
That's the-
heater leak.
Okay.
Where's that door? Where does that door lead to?
A water heater.
Okay, what happened?
In 2011, the water heater exploded. I have emails where he was notified in a timely manner.
Right, I saw
in fact,
your
I have
emails.
all the email correspondence where I notified him on everything in a timely manner. Okay, they came. It was a big ordeal. I mean, we had just moved in. I mean, there's water everywhere. The place is flooded out. The hot water tank blew into the kitchen and everything. Now, he did his job. He fixed the problem, got a new hot water tank. They were in there for 3 days with fans and everything, drying the place out.
How many bedrooms and bathrooms is this unit?
It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Okay, so it's pretty large.
It was pretty large.
Okay.
unit. And
But the part of
now, wait. Let me finish, and then if you have something to add, that would probably work out better rather than confuse
Oh,
the
okay.
judge. So the only thing that wasn't fixed, and the plumbing people said that they would be back, was the cosmetic damage under the sink where they took a piece of plywood and they put it over the hole. okay? And if my dog would have chewed through that door would have had big holes in it like the fence
Okay,
did
sir,
that
I want you to
built.
step behind the lectern, though, and speak to me. Go ahead.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the police are called when other tenants get involved.
And then I started getting complaints about Stan getting into altercations, so much so that the police have been called.
And later,
But you asked them to move.
We had an agreement.
Stop it.
Here's the check, though. I paid the
Sir,
rent.
do you think, I don't know what you think you're doing. I need you to calm down.
plaintiff Drew Fanticola says he rented his apartment to the defendants only to find it in horrible condition when they moved. Defendants Stanley and Aaron Clark say that the plaintiff neglected repairs during their occupancy and are countersuing for defamation of character.
What happened with the leak under the sink? You say there was a leak under the kitchen sink that ruined a part of the floor, right?
Right.
Okay,
So,
tell me about that.
The problems with the dog obviously continued, and then I started getting complaints about Stan getting into altercations with the other tenants. So much so that the police have been called several times. I called Stan and said, hey, Stan, you know, I'm not evicting you, but I think it just sounds like a good idea if you found another place to rent at your convenience.
And what, you had already warned him
Correct.
about the issues? What was going on?
They were bad. I would say they were bad tenants. It was an abuse of city services. The police were there once. The dog catcher was there once.
Well, what was the issue with the other tenants?
Yeah, they were videotaping all the tenants inside the residency. There were videotapes pointed at all the carports. Now the police.
So you got upset because they were taking photos.
Well, they're
and
taking photos of me, and I don't know why. He's
And you
chasing my
confronted
wife.
them about it?
And I flipped them off, and the cops came about 4 hours later. They asked me to refrain.
When you say flip off, I know what that means. I don't need you to demonstrate it anymore. Okay?
Well, they asked. Okay. They asked me. They said, although that is not illegal, please refrain from doing that. We frown upon that, Mr. Clark. So I said, okay, and then I just started going from the car.
Okay, I saw that you emailed him and gave him a warning because of the issues with the neighbors.
Where it kept escalating, and the police were called, and just like I said, it seemed like a good time for him to find another place. I wasn't at his convenience. I wasn't evicting him, but
okay, so he finds a place and he's moving out, and you go in, and is there a walkthrough?
That is correct. So there's
Were you there for the walkthrough?
Yeah, we were both there for the walkthrough, and I asked for a third party because he just kept squeezing me and kicking me on the way out the door for money.
There was another issue, and I called and let him know about it. He called me the B word, and so my husband and him, you know, it wasn't going well with, you know, exchanging of words, so we asked that a third party come. He sent his contractor to the walkthrough. I emailed him immediately. We have the email here that asked for the papers from the walkthrough, and we were denied. We were told that we would only be sent an invoice.
Okay, and so when did you send them?
There's also some banner going on here about the walkthrough, which I have as evidence.
I've seen the emails. At some point, you do send them a breakdown of what you call damages.
That's correct.
To the unit.
I wanted to show the video of the walkthrough.
Okay.
So it just clearly illustrates the appalling condition that they left this apartment. It was just disgusting. The apartment smelled from dog. The carpet was soaking wet.
Let's show the video,
disgusting...
and I want you, and only you, to describe for me what I'm looking at in the video.
So this is the kitchen sink, and this water leaking from the sink could have been easily fixed with just a repaired faucet.
That water was running out of the sink like that?
Running out of the sink like that, down destroying the kitchen cabinet like that. It dry rotted it.
Was that hole there?
It wasn't there when I rented it. This is watch it splash. This is the carpet.
We weren't even there for this video. We don't know when you took it.
And not only is it soaking wet, it smells disgusting.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions about the video. Is that what the kitchen sink looked like underneath when you opened the cabinets?
Yes.
Okay.
Underneath,
And that's where the plywood was from when the water heater broke up, and you could see the hole in the back of the wall.
I understand.
That was when the pipe was changed.
When you turned the kitchen faucet on, was it leaking water like that?
Yes.
Running water?
And they would not fix it, and they didn't fix the
When
shower.
do you have, how do I know what date that video was taken on? Do you have an affidavit from the person who took the video? You weren't there, right?
I was not there, correct.
Okay.
We didn't do a video during the walkthrough. I have no idea when this video came from.
Coming up on Judge Faith.
Sir, listen. You have this lawyer thing going on in your head.
I need consulting for public works. I'm being railroaded here.
You know what? Let me tell you, you better turn it down.
Okay.
You better turn it down right now. This is not law and order. Listen, you may play a lawyer in your life, but I'm a judge. You better turn it down.
Plaintiff Drew Fanticola says when the defendants moved out of his apartment, it was in horrible condition. Defendants Stanley and Aaron Clark say the plaintiff is wrong and that they were great tenants.
You're saying that your contractor took the video.
That is correct.
There's no date on it. Do you have anything from your contractor, an affidavit or anything?
I did send them the video link of the video that was taken at the apartment, and it is date stamped on the YouTube link.
What date did you send that video to them?
July 2nd or July 3rd.
And when
After
did they
you
move?
fixed the
Excuse
stuff.
me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
I also have pictures of a few more damages that we haven't talked about. Your Honor, they also broke a sliding glass door.
Okay, tell me about that. What happened with the sliding glass door?
I have.
The night before we moved out, I went to go open the door to go outside so we could start putting boxes outside so we'd be ready in the morning. And I went to go open it. I heard like a crack when I went to go open it. The entire door fell on my head. You could hear the glass raining the whole 9 yards.
So you think there was something wrong with the door? You're saying you didn't do anything to it to break it?
I went to go open it. I did
just
nothing to the door.
And why do you think they're responsible, sir?
I think that they broke the door, destroyed the carpet, they destroyed the kitchen sink, and had to spend $8,473 out of my money to rehab this apartment.
Did you really pay that money? Did you have those upgrades done? Do you have canceled checks for this?
Sir, I want you to address me and not Mr. Fanticola. You understand?
I would like
Can
to
you
see
do that?
proof that he actually had this work done and what condition the apartment is in now. I spent $1,300 to get that place ready just for you to throw me out on my ear. I'm shocked and appalled.
So here's what. Okay. So here's what we have here. There's an expectation that when someone lives in a unit for 3 years and they move out, you're going to have to do some maintenance, right?
Correct.
That's just one of the duties of a landlord.
That's correct.
And my concern is when I look at your list of damages, you've clearly included things that they should not be paying for. The light bulbs are out in the bathroom and in the kitchen. They shouldn't pay for that. This is something that's ordinary wear and tear. Light bulbs may be out when people move out after they lived there for 3 years. And my concern is because when you have real damages, but you try to sort of sneak in all of these other little things that they shouldn't be paying for, you sort of muddy the waters. And I have to look at everything you have on here with a higher level of scrutiny because there are clearly things you've included on this invoice that they should not be paying for.
My favorite was water spots on the windows from his sprinklers on the outside. The water spots were good. That was best. Hats off to you.
When he gave 30-day notice and only paid for half of that month.
But you asked them to move.
We had an agreement.
Stop it.
Here's the check, though. I paid the rent.
I don't know what you think you're doing. I need you to calm down. You asked, you're complaining that they didn't give you sufficient notice, but you asked them to move.
Because you wanted the keys back. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If I was going to pay all of June's rent, he wouldn't have got the keys back till the 30th, but I gave him the keys back on the 10th. So I paid.
What is your, Mr. Clark?
What?
Calm down. Stan, calm down.
I'm okay with you deducting the light bulbs.
Well, there's going to be more than just
Okay.
deductions for the light bulbs here, and it's not what you're okay with. It's what I decide.
I understand.
Okay.
Our legal fees, our security deposit, because in the state of California, he should have given us a chance to fix it. He should have given us notice of what he wanted fixed. That never happened while we met with his contractor.
And the other thing is,
Well, he doesn't have to, after you move out of a unit, he doesn't have to give you an opportunity. That's not the law, okay, in this state. After you move out of a unit, he doesn't have to give you an opportunity to come in and fix anything. What he does have to do is give you notice, a letter, in a certain amount of time of the damages to the unit, and then he's subtracting that from your security deposit. He has a duty to return the rest of your security deposit to you.
I disagree with that.
What's the...
Because he has,
what's
by
that?
California law, Section 9.
Sir, listen.
1-9.
You have this lawyer thing going on in your head.
I do consulting for public works. I'm being railroaded here.
You know what? Let me tell you, you better turn it down.
Okay.
You better turn it down right now. This is not Law and Order. You're not on an episode of Law and Order. You may play a lawyer in your life, but I'm a judge. You better turn it down.
Now, Judge Faith rules.
Okay, Mr. Fanticola, you made my job more difficult than it should have been with this case today because of the way you measured damages in the unit after they vacated the unit. And you provided me with a list of more than 30 items you say were damaged or that they should have to pay for. And I went through this list and, you know, I made the comment, use the light bulbs as an example earlier, and I heard and detected your sarcasm when I used that as an example, but it is only an example of a number of things on this list you're charging them for that they shouldn't be charged for. You charge them for cleaning the water deposits off of the windows. They've lived there for 3 years. You don't think you're gonna have to clean the windows after they leave? You basically went through and every minor thing you could possibly charge them for, you did. And after a person lives in a place for 3 years and you're preparing it for a new tenant to come in, you're going to have to do some maintenance. You're going to have to do some upkeep. There are things that you have to pay for out of pocket. That's what landlords do. That's why a lot of people don't want to be landlords. Because when people move out and other people move in, you have to go in and assess what's beyond normal wear and tear, and they should be responsible for, and then the things that you have to pay for by virtue of doing your job and keeping up an apartment by virtue of you being a landlord. So what I did is I went and pulled up the video on YouTube that your contractor filmed, and the video was taken no more than 2 weeks after you moved out of the unit. And I don't think that the plaintiff or his contractor went in and created some damages just to try to conspire and pin that on you. I think the video tells a true and accurate story of the condition and the way you left the apartment in. And here's what I've decided based on looking on the video. And the carpet, for whatever reason, 2 weeks after you moved out, was completely soaked and ruined. So I'm going to order you to pay for the carpet to be replaced. I think it has to be replaced based on what I saw in the video. In addition, the damages to the kitchen as a result of the leak in the kitchen, based on what you have submitted, sir, I'm ordering them to pay you to replace the faucet and to rebuild the kitchen cabinet, which was completely ruined because of the water. And I came up with a figure of $2,600 in damages, $1,000 for labor. You already have their security deposit, which was $1,000. So I'm ordering them to pay you $2,600. You're not getting your security deposit back. You have a counterclaim for harassment and defamation of character. That is dismissed. You haven't proven any harassment or defamation of character. My judgment is for the plaintiff in this case. I'm ordering you to pay him $2,600 in damages. Order for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Faith, was the rental ransacked or just returned like it was found?
I decided this would be my opportunity to go see what was really going on in the apartment. The entire house was a hot mess express.
I did call him the N-word one time. Because he sat there calling me a cracker.
Calm down.
If you,
listen. Look at me. Breathe. You can just relax and take a moment. I'm going to go through the text messages.
Plaintiff Demi Drummer says his former tenant was nothing but trouble. He's suing for unpaid rent, security deposit, property damage, and stolen property. Defendant Mickey Brown says she doesn't owe anything because her former landlord was rude, crude, and disrespectful. She's countersuing for the cost of her dog, defamation of character, harassment, and pain and suffering.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Drummer versus Brown.
Thank you, Juan. Demi Drummer?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were suing the defendant, Mickey Brown, for $2,206 for unpaid rent, security deposit, property damage, and stolen property?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are countersuing, ma'am, for $5,000 for defamation of character, harassment, pain and suffering, and the cost of a dog.
Correct.
Okay, why don't we start with you, sir? Let me ask you, I understand that Ms. Brown was a tenant of yours in a property at some point.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you tell me the dates?
The dates was between mid-June to early July, 2015.
So just 1 month?
1 week.
A little less than that. Yeah, 1 week, like she said.
1 week.
Okay, was there a written agreement between the two of you?
No, we never got to that point.
So we're talking about 1 month, no written lease, and you say she never paid any money to live there,
1
right?
week.
Okay, so take me from the beginning. Tell me what happened.
So I met Michelle she gave me a call through a Craigslist ad I put up for an apartment I had for rent in my 4-family house. She gave me this sob story that at her previous apartment, she lost everything due to an electrical fire, and she had nothing, and she was staying out of an extended stay hotel with her husband, and...
That is a sad story. So what happened?
It was sad at the time. I was like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Nobody should have to go through this traumatic thing or whatever.
So why are you telling me that? Because what? Did you get a security deposit from her?
No, I did not.
Did you get any rent from her?
No, I did not.
Okay. You let her move in without giving you any money?
Correct.
How old are you?
I fell for her story. I'm 24.
You're 24.
But
okay.
I look 16.
And you
you know.
And you own an apartment building, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you live there?
I do.
Okay, so
yes.
you live in one of the units?
Yes.
But how many units are in the building?
There are 4, 2 bedrooms each, 1 bathroom.
Okay, so you, at 24 years old, you own a 4-apartment unit building.
Your Honor, you ain't got to toot my horn like that. But yes,
no, I just want to get this established.
Yes.
Right? These are the facts, right?
Let's put that out there, okay.
Okay, because most landlords don't allow people to move into their apartments without giving them any money.
I'm inexperienced. It's kind of new to me. I just
That was a
owned the
rookie
house for about
mistake.
yeah, that was a big rookie mistake.
Okay,
Real big.
go ahead. So what happens? Why did you do that?
She's telling me all these things like she's at a really low point in her life, and you know I'm a Gemini. I'm emotional, so I'm like, oh my goodness, if I went through a fire and like lost all my clothes I done got from Goodwill and all that stuff, I'd just be out of it. So I'm like, you know what? Forget whatever process I have in checking in tenants and all that, because I had other people I could have looked at and moved in. And so I said, you know what? I feel for you. I want to alleviate the pain that you're going through right now. I will give you the keys to the apartment today.
And here we are today.
And here
How did that work out for
today.
you?
Sadly.
So, what do you say the conversation was, ma'am, when you moved in?
We had an electrical fire, and that's what I called, and I told him about it. I never told him I lost everything. I didn't lose everything. I lost a lot. I lost my home until it's being redone.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. That's what insurance is for.
I want to understand the arrangement the two of you had, because you moved in and didn't pay anything, and now he's suing you.
We had no arrangement.
What was the arrangement?
We had no arrangement.
What was the agreement?
There was none. That the next month...
Was there no understanding that you would pay
There was
rent?
no lease signed. I never established... I only lived there 7 days. I never established residency. I never brought in any kind of furniture. I wanted nothing to do with that place.
But you expected to pay rent at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I was gonna stay there, but I didn't stay there, and I had no plan on staying there.
You only lived there for 7 days.
I remodeled the kitchen for him while I was there.
In 7 days?
Yes, I did.
Let me stop you. Let me help you understand something. There does not have to be a written lease in place for you to owe rent. When you move in somewhere and you agree to be a tenant and you agree to live there, you gotta pay.
He told me if I did the kitchen, I wouldn't have to pay till August.
Okay.
When?
Did you say that?
Her memory is clearly fogged.
I redid.
Did you tell her if she remodeled the kitchen, she did not have to pay rent until August?
First off, we came to that agreement when she called me proposing that she painted my kitchen cabinets and redid the floor. Because I previously told her that when she moved in that I may be in from time to time to make improvements on the apartment. I would have never came to that agreement if she didn't approach me about it. And the agreement was that she would do that to cover the June's rent. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less.
Coming up on Judge Faith, had the rental gone to the dogs?
You say that there was a dead dog you found in the apartment.
Allegedly, her friend beat the dog to death.
My dog died at Webster Groves Animal Hospital.
Plaintiff Demi Drummer says his former tenant caused problems from day one. He's suing for unpaid rent, security deposit, property damage, and stolen property. Defendant Mickey Brown says she doesn't owe anything because Demi made her short stay unbearable. She's countersuing for the cost of her dog, defamation of character, harassment, and pain and suffering.
Okay, what is this a photo of, sir?
Well, that big, beautiful air mattress is the air mattress I lent to the roommate that she decided to move in like 2 days after she moved into the apartment, where also the dead...
So now there's... How many people were living there?
My husband and I, and then his friend, it was his friend who actually was in that room. His friend, your friend.
Ma'am, did you not have another friend living in the apartment?
No, I did not. My
Okay,
husband and I
go
don't
ahead.
have
Go ahead,
roommates,
sir.
Your Honor.
Crime in the court. Last time I checked, but okay.
What's a crime?
Perjury.
What is this a photo of, sir?
In the middle is a
No,
pile
no,
of
no.
stolen clothes surrounded by dog feces and
whose stuff is that?
urine.
Wait, you had
After-
dogs?
No. I moved out. I
She
moved
had a
out
zoo.
after a week. When I left there, it was spotless. He signed a lease with them. That's all their stuff.
But there was no
None of
paperwork
my
to
stuff
have
was in
that
there.
lease.
Next photo.
You see that right there? That to the right. That's a range. These are the people that Ms. Brown associates herself with. I have family members who stay in that building. My mother stays in that building. My sister stays in that building. My 3-year-old niece stays in that building. There's no way I would expose my niece to people who would have a syringe sitting in the bathroom mirror or have a rat in a kitchen pantry.
And it's not a rat, it's a gerbil. And it's my
That
pet.
you left there.
And-
So that was yours.
No,
That was,
none of that was mine. He took this picture.
How'd you know it was a gerbil and not a
Because
rat?
it's my rat. He took that picture when I
But it's a
lived there.
gerbil.
The 7
For
days that you
7
were
days,
there?
Yes.
What about
Oh,
the
my
syringe?
No, I don't have no
So why did you move
idea.
out after? Why did you move out?
Okay, I'm
Calm
just saying,
down. Calm
if-
down.
if you-
listen,
okay.
listen. Look at me. Breathe. You lived there. Why did you move out after 7 days?
Because my life was threatened. It was a horrible neighborhood.
Okay.
I don't do drugs. I don't like drugging.
When you moved out, ma'am, did you take all of your property
did.
and
Yes, I did.
everyone else with you when you vacated?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Sir, my question for you is, what was the reason she gave you claim, for not paying rent or for being late?
So for July's rent, we were having a back and forth because I stated to her that I was kind of uncomfortable with the people she was bringing around to the household. And
Did he tell you that, ma'am?
I didn't live there in July. I lived in my new apartment in July.
Okay, go ahead.
Which, to bounce off of that, she said when she left in June, she said she left because her pop was sick. And he eventually, unfortunately, ended up dying.
You told him that your father died?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, but it's not your father, it's your husband's father.
It's my husband's father, yeah, but I've been married for 16 years.
So you're saying he was like a father to you?
Yes, he was.
Okay, and you say that's not what she told you?
That's not what she
What
told
did
me
she tell
at
you?
all. She basically said her papa was sick, and so that's when she went ghost Carmen Sandiego on me and stuff and disappeared. And then she said eventually, like a few days later, her father died and she's basically an orphan.
Did she tell you she was coming back?
Yes, she did.
Okay, do you have any of that via text message? May I see your text messages, please? Just give me all of your text messages. Give me your phone.
Text messages, phone.
Friday, June 26th. He writes to you, hey, I'm going out of town Sunday for a week. I expect the lease to be signed by then. If a lease is not signed before I leave, I'll have no other choice but to start the eviction process. I'm uncomfortable with having someone I do not know stay in this building while neither one of you are present with a number of animals. Someone else was there with animals. Who's that person?
No, they were watching my 2 dogs.
Who's that person?
His friend, who actually, it was his friend.
Okay, ma'am, you gotta stop. Because these are obviously people you know who are in the apartment.
We both knew them.
Okay, forget who he knows.
Okay.
And you have them there watching your 2 dogs, right?
I paid them, yes.
Okay, so you haven't moved out of the apartment in just 1 week because your 2 dogs are still there. Am I right?
Just my dogs were there.
Okay,
I was not
so
there.
you
None of my
haven't
property
moved
was there.
out because your dogs are there. So your dogs get to live in the apartment for free?
They were sleeping outside, and he.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
And he. Can I tell you something?
No,
ma'am?
you can't. So
Wait.
so we went from you're moved out after a week. No one's there except his friends. But now you have 2 people there watching your 2 dogs. Am I right?
No.
4 dogs, cat, and rat.
And your gerbil. You write to him, my pop has now passed away. I'm officially an orphan.
Yes, I did say that. Because my mom died, and now my dad is dead.
Okay.
Okay.
He writes to you. He's complaining because there are people there that he says are selling drugs and trying to sell stuff to his tenants. He writes this to you. You say, don't worry, no one's safety is in jeopardy. He writes back to you, I'm not worried about that, I'm worried about my property. Oh, this is interesting. My pop left me a very large life insurance policy and I'm the sole beneficiary. He did? He didn't leave it to your
Not very
husband?
large, but yeah, he left me money. Yes, he did.
Okay, he left you a life insurance
Well,
policy.
my husband and I, yes.
She said she was blowing her nose with $20 bills.
It seemed like there was a lot of text messages that were missing, where he told me that.
Ma'am, what is
can I-
clear to me is you wanted to generate sympathy for yourself.
No, I did
to
not.
prolong the fact that you were still there and you had not signed a lease, you had not paid any rent, and you were trying to buy yourself some time.
Coming up, is the truth in the text messages?
Hell, KKK.
I would never say that.
You took it to that level.
Plaintiff Demi Drummer says Mickey didn't pay rent and left the apartment a wreck. He's suing for unpaid rent, security deposit, property damage, and stolen property. Defendant Mickey Brown says she doesn't owe anything because the 7 days she stayed in the apartment were unbearable. She's countersuing for the cost of her dog, defamation of character, harassment, and pain and suffering.
What is your counterclaim about, ma'am?
Harassment. First of all, look at the real text messages from you. 337. I would like you to
Please,
see
give me
these.
the text messages. Juan, hand those to me, please. How did he
Where
harass you?
He talks about how my dad is dead now, along with my dead dog, where they're supposed to be.
Did you know the two people that she's saying are your friends? Did you know them prior to her moving in?
I wouldn't have known them from a can of paint until she
Mm-hmm.
introduced me to them. And yet, those two are responsible for my property being stolen. So,
Not true.
with that
Oh my
being said, let's
God.
continue to what the question was.
What were the circumstances of, you say the dog, there was a dead dog you found in the apartment?
Allegedly, her friend beat the dog to death. Now, previously, I never entered her apartment because I try to be a professional landlord and respect people's privacy. So, being concerned for the animals because there was a nasty smell emanating from the apartment throughout the house, I decided this would be my opportunity to go see what was really going on in the apartment. So I entered the apartment, see nothing but feces and urine and dog fur. So I go into that room, and on that wonderful air mattress, which I provided to them, I saw a dog that was motionless. I saw the dog, I'm like, oh my good, oh, that dog dead. And so I left the room and continued exploring because the entire house was a hot mess express. So I saw clothes on the floor in a basket that looked familiar. I grabbed that basket, went to my tenant, stolen clothes. They stole from other tenants. I called Miss Brown and said her dog was dead and she came to get the dog.
Okay, let me ask you something.
My dog died at Webster Groves Animal Hospital.
After that, did she ever come back to the apartment again?
After she got her dog, she never came back to the apartment.
You never heard from her again?
Oh, I heard from her after that. Your Honor, things went way downhill after that.
Okay, and I'm looking at the text messages. Why don't you stand up? Okay, what is it that you want me to see, sir?
She asked about the dogs. I wasn't concerned about the dogs. I just wanted her gone. I found out the dog was dead. She's starting to get ignorant. I said, good luck with whatever's going on and your dead dog. Then she just went out of control. The N-word, I'm N-word this. The only good N-word is a dead N-word. My grandpa used to own N-words. I'm the scum of the earth.
Did you say that to him?
I did call him the N-word one time. Because he sat there calling me a cracker. Here, Demi.
Hold on
let's go over the text
a
messages.
second.
You call me.
Mr. Drummer never calls you any names.
Oh, really?
He wrote to you, good luck finding your dogs. Your dogs had run off, ma'am?
No, they did not. My dogs were at my house with me.
One dog was dead, one dog ran away.
My dog died.
He wrote to you, good luck finding your dogs. You wrote, like my daddy used to say, the only good is a dead.
No, I did not say that. I did
but
not
I'm
say
crazy.
That. Demi, what, ma'am?
Hell, KKK.
I would
you
never
took
say
it to that level.
No, you know what?
She went
all right,
in.
I'm done hearing all of this.
There's nothing more to be said.
You're a liar.
You want to call him what you want to call him. If you want to be ignorant, if both of you want to call each other names, doesn't matter. I'm here to decide the rent.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
This is a month-to-month tenancy because as you told me, we didn't sign a lease. Now, in your mind, there's no proof that you have to pay rent. That's not the way it works. Clearly, there's an agreement here that you have to pay rent, especially for July, because we're not talking about bartering for kitchen renovations or anything like that. July is strictly rent. But not only that, when it's a oral lease, you still have to give 30 days notice when you're moving out. And here you are, July 4th, your dogs are still there. You haven't given him 30 days notice that you're vacating. When are you taking your dogs? When are you leaving with your dogs? So not only do you owe for July, you also owe for August. Lesson to you. When you have someone move in to your place, get your lease in writing. No one moves in without giving you money. You don't put keys in this hand without cash or money coming in this hand. That is the rule, and there are no exceptions, because you wouldn't be in this position today. The number one rule that landlords should stick to: you don't give someone possession of your apartment without collecting rent. You had someone there who never paid you a single dime, and she left, and I believe those photos are accurate, she left the place in a mess. Counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff, $2,206.
I'm taking you to court for this, Demi.
Run me my money.
You're gonna need it for that house, Demi. You're gonna need it for that house.
I feel like Judge Faith's ruling was fair. She obviously saw through her lies and the deception that she or the facade she put on me in order to get an apartment and do whatever in the world her and her friends do. So it was a good ruling. I win. Yay me. Money.
My dog and my dad are dead in the ground where they belong. Tell me what a wonderful person he is, you guys. You guys didn't hear any of that, did you? You know, and then you're clapping. You guys don't know Demi Drummer.